Youth is like a one-way train ride. The university gates open up that journey with abundant sunshine and encounters that feel like destiny. The girl named Dan started her train ride in the most painful way possible. A collision so strong she ended up flat on the ground. But the culprit, Sheng, didn't even bother to glance at her, too busy rejecting someone else's feelings. Dan spoke up, asking him to apologize to her, but Sheng thought she was helping a friend confess, so he refused to admit he was wrong. Her friend, Yu Tang, introduced Sheng as a math genius, whose essay on the Poik hypothesis was published in a magazine. Sheng asked Yu Tang what she thought of his perspective, making her speechless. Dan explained, the Poik hypothesis proves that every simply connected closed three-manifold is homeomorphic to the three-sphere. It's the only one of the 7 Millennium Prize problems to be solved in the world. Just as Sheng received a call, he sped off. Yu Tang bumped into Dan, accidentally throwing a cake onto Sheng's back. He warned them not to let him see the two girls again. While moving into the dorm, Dan got to know her roommate, Mi Fun. She liked fortune-telling with cards and predicted that Dan had just encountered bad luck. Dan found it pretty accurate, so she invited her friend to try her hometown specialty. Just then, Yu Tang walked in, smelling something foul everywhere. It turned out she was the other roommate. Dan received a message, frantically rushing to the swimming pool to get a book. At the pool, Sheng was determined to get into the water. He was the president of the swimming club, but he had a psychological complex and didn't dare to jump in. Just as Dan arrived to get her book, Sheng recognized the unlucky girl and forbade Dan from touching his book. She snatched it back because she had paid for it online. But during the struggle, Sheng slipped and fell into the water. Dan remained calm because he was wearing the swimming club's uniform. Unexpectedly, Sheng started to drown, so she quickly rushed down to save him. Two friends from a distance saw them and jumped in, pulling Sheng ashore. Dan performed CPR and artificial respiration to save him. But as Dan leaned in, Sheng coughed up water right in her mouth. Dan only learned from the friend next to her, named Hu Ling, that she had gotten the wrong bookseller. Sheng asked her not to bring bad luck to him again. The next day, the school forum exploded with news. The president of the swimming club drowned and was given artificial respiration by a curly-haired girl. The male students scoffed at the swimming genius drowning, while the female students criticized Dan for being both ugly and countrified. When picking up her book, Dan asked Hu Ling to give Sheng an apology letter. She blamed herself for pushing him into the water. Sheng didn't want to read initially, but became curious when he saw Hu Ling's reaction. He looked at the photo of himself drowning and excitedly ran off to settle the score with Dan. Just then, a ball flew towards her, and he conveniently caught it. Sheng pushed Dan against the fence, asking if that was what she wanted to say in the letter. Dan explained that she had deliberated for a long time before finishing it. Sheng was speechless and decided to wash away this humiliation. On the club fair day, Dan wanted to choose swimming because she heard that it gave the highest training points. She believed that Sheng, after reading the letter, wouldn't use his position for personal revenge. Coincidentally, Yu Tang also signed up for swimming. An upperclassman praised Yu Tang's excellent swimming record, while Dan had never won any swimming awards. Dan read the club's criteria, which aimed to attract more people who love swimming. If the club only accepted elite members, it would go against its original ideals. Sheng suddenly appeared, agreeing to recruit Dan into the club. Hu Ling also acknowledged that Dan was a good swimmer and had even saved the drowning president. Sheng told the new members to report at 8 o'clock in the evening. During the first training session, Hu Ling announced that a new member and an old member would be paired for specialized training. In addition, the president would personally coach one new member. Sheng walked around and finally chose Dan. She thought she was being favored and promised not to let the president down. Yu Tang was unconvinced and wanted to compete with Dan. If she won, Dan would have to give up her pairing slot to her. If she lost, she would withdraw from the swimming club. Standing far away, Hu Ling wondered why Sheng chose Dan. Sheng swore he would straighten out her curly hair. At the start of the match, Dan didn't even know the starting posture. However, the beginning doesn't determine the whole race. Dan quickly caught up and then surprisingly surpassed Yu Tang. Hu Ling praised the president for his good eye, choosing the most potential star. After the training session ended, Sheng told Dan to stay. He began rigorous training, making her breathless. She knew he was intentionally tormenting her, but she endured it for the training points. Back at the dorm, Dan was messed with by Yu Tang again. She swapped her shampoo with dye, making Dan's hair patchy. On her way to the hair salon, Dan accidentally bumped into Sheng. She quickly held onto her hat so he wouldn't see her. At the coffee shop, Dan got a new hairstyle. Sheng's group didn't recognize her, thinking she was some cute girl. Sheng criticized his friend's taste, saying they didn't recognize Ji-Dan. Upstairs, Yin-sheng asked Ji-Dan if she still had time to get a haircut and chase idols. He told her to come for extra practice tomorrow. Passing by the club office, Ji-Dan heard Yin-sheng mention her. He said he recruited her into the swimming team to make her pay for her foolishness. Ji-Dan was furious and rushed in, accusing him of being too much. Yin-sheng returned the letter that insulted him. Ji-Dan explained that she had actually written an apology letter. Yin-sheng didn't believe her and told her to be his personal assistant to atone for her mistakes for 10 days. She had to obey him without complaining, otherwise, he would continue her special training. Ji-Dan agreed because of the full scholarship for the next semester. Yin-sheng told her to immediately buy lunch after practice. Rice from the first floor, soup from the second floor, spicy chicken from the third floor, fried eggs from the fourth floor, steamed crab from the fifth floor. To deal with the devil, Ji-Dan hired a food delivery service in the school. She even thoughtfully read other people's confessions to him. Yin-sheng intended to torment Ji-Dan, but unexpectedly, he had to listen to her babble all day. At the library, Yin-sheng planned to solve a math problem published in the latest New Era magazine. Just as his best friend, named Shirzi, had to go to work part-time, Yin-sheng had to fold his book temporarily. As soon as he left, Ji-Dan arrived. She coincidentally liked the same book as him and accidentally discovered an interesting math problem. Mifan wondered why Ji-Dan, the best student who won a full scholarship, still had to study math so diligently. Ji-Dan said she liked math very much, but chose psychology because she wanted to help more people. Just then, Yin-sheng texted her, urging her to clean the second floor of the club. As expected, he was intentionally making things difficult for her, but Ji-Dan discovered a climbing room inside. Meanwhile, Yin-sheng borrowed the book again. He didn't expect his math problem to be solved. Shirzi guessed that the elegant handwriting must belong to a girl like a math goddess. Yin-sheng eagerly began to write a more difficult math problem. He hoped she wouldn't disappoint him. Back at the club, Yin-sheng saw Ji-Dan dozing off by the pool. He woke her up, deciding to clear up their past misunderstandings. While Yin-sheng was in the club office, Ji-Dan discovered the broken trophy. She took a picture of it to find a way to fix it. Just as Yin-sheng entered, he quickly snatched the trophy back. He remembered that this was the winning prize he and his best friend had won. Yin-sheng lost his composure and blamed Ji-Dan for breaking it. She explained that she only took a picture to find a way to fix it, but he didn't believe her and knocked her phone to the ground. Ji-Dan asserted that she didn't break the trophy, and it was up to him whether he believed her or not. Hu-ling entered the office and found a concert ticket. Yin-sheng guessed that the person who broke the trophy left it behind. He went to the concert to see who the culprit was. Unexpectedly, Ji-Dan was sitting right next to him. The melodious music made her fall asleep on his shoulder. Yin-sheng repeatedly pushed Ji-Dan, but still couldn't stop her. But because the concert ended late, Yin-sheng couldn't get a ride. Ji-Dan fortunately managed to rent the last electric car. She felt sorry for him and agreed to give him a ride. But Ji-Dan's speed terrified Yin-sheng. He told her not to give him concert tickets again next time. He said the ticket was right next to the broken trophy. Ji-Dan understood why Yu-tang had suddenly invited her to the concert. She clarified, "I'm not going to waste money on someone as narcissistic as Yin-sheng." He said, "If you hate me, then don't come to the club anymore." Back at the dorm, Ji-Dan confronted Yu-tang for breaking Yin-sheng's trophy and then giving her the ticket to take the blame. Furthermore, Yu-tang had swapped her apology letter. Ji-Dan warned Yu-tang that if she continued to cause trouble, she wouldn't stay silent. At the library, Ji-Dan received a call from her grandma. Her phone was broken, so she used the landline at the reception desk. She reported that her studies were going very well and that she had joined the swimming club. Yin-sheng overheard from a distance and also realized his fault for her broken phone. Meeting Yin-sheng, Ji-Dan submitted a withdrawal form from the club. He didn't approve it and told her to write a 3,000-word essay until it met his requirements. Ji-Dan declared that she wouldn't come to the club anymore. Yin-sheng remembered breaking her phone last time, so he compensated her with a new one. Ji-Dan temporarily accepted, promising to pay him back gradually. On a sunny summer day, Yin-sheng excitedly went to the library. As expected, the goddess didn't disappoint him. From then on, mathematics gradually became the bond between them. Student life gradually became interesting, not because of any major changes, but because there was something to look forward to every day. In the new semester, the school would increase the weight of training points in the final grade. Ji-Dan wanted to return to the swimming team, only fearing that Yin-sheng would refuse. Mifan advised her to find a newly opened club. Ji-Dan asked the student council president if she could reopen the climbing club, but since the swimming team was managing the venue, she needed Yin-sheng's authorization. Attending an elective course, Ji-Dan coincidentally met Yin-sheng. She quickly sat next to him to ask the president to return the second floor to the climbing club. Yin-sheng refused because Ji-Dan didn't meet his standards. At the coffee shop, Yin-sheng's group decorated with balloons to welcome their good friend, Yin-tong. Shirzi thoughtfully prepared the Ocean University handbook. helping Yin Tong integrate after a year of exchange abroad. Just then, Ji Dan rushed over to get Yin Sheng to sign the authorization form. Yin Tong recognized the girl who pushed Yin Sheng into the water and invited Ji Dan to chat inside. Yin Tong gave Yin Sheng a math maze set, making Ji Dan compete with Yin Tong. Seeing Ji Dan's bangs were a little messy, she gave her a clip that suited her junior. But Ji Dan didn't dare to accept it, so she chased after Yin Tong to return it. Unexpectedly, as soon as Ji Dan turned around, Yin Tong threw the hair clip into the trash can. Returning to Yin Sheng, Ji Dan questioned why he refused to sign the authorization form. Yin Sheng guessed that Ji Dan had never climbed artificial walls and only wanted to open the club for training points. If she climbed to the top, he would agree to the authorization. Ji Dan accepted the challenge, but didn't even know how to wear a safety harness. She asked for more time, started to learn techniques, and practiced frantically. Even so, she only conquered halfway. Yin Sheng was about to go help Ji Dan, just as Yin Tong asked to join the swimming club. She was beautiful and thoughtful, winning everyone's favor. Ji Dan called Yin Sheng over to check her progress. She enthusiastically tied up her hair to start the race. She slipped, making everyone's heart skip a beat. Everyone advised Ji Dan to give up, but she refused to surrender. Ji Dan gained momentum and successfully touched the highest point. Yin Sheng, I did it. Ji Dan slipped and fell without breaking. Yin Sheng ran to help Ji Dan, but unexpectedly slipped and touched her lips. The inverted kiss was so beautiful that everyone around raised their phones to take pictures. Yin Tong reminded Yin Sheng that he was late for the student council meeting. He quickly left, leaving Ji Dan still breathless. Meeting Yin Sheng, Ji Dan urged him to sign the authorization form. Yin Sheng reminded her that if the club didn't recruit 5 members, it would be forced to disband. Ji Dan drew flyers herself to recruit new members. But it wasn't as simple as she thought, as no one was interested in artificial climbing. But after 2 days, Ji Dan still hadn't recruited anyone. Hu Ling suggested that flyers had a limited reach, and it would be better to promote it online. Ji Dan got a good idea and asked Hu Ling for help. She invited the swimming club to participate in a climbing program with rewards, but everyone was afraid of falling. Only Hu Ling volunteered to go first. He was a little afraid of heights, so he got weak in the knees halfway up. Yin Sheng quickly put on protective gear to save his friend. He told Hu Ling to hold on tightly to him and slowly descend. Hu Ling apologized for not being able to help Ji Dan. He asked his best friend to quickly help Ji Dan complete the promotional video. Yin Sheng changed in his specialized shoes and began his climbing journey. His hands firmly grasped each foothold, steady as if nothing could move him. He quickly got the reward, to everyone's amazement. Unexpectedly, the gift was a lifetime membership card. After posting the advertisement on the forum, many students signed up to join the climbing club. Ji Dan came to thank Hu Ling for giving her a good idea. Yin Sheng criticized her for not even being able to think of a way to recruit members. So how could she innovate the club? Hu Ling asked Yin Sheng why he secretly gave Ji Dan methods to promote online, but still intentionally provoked her. In the applied mathematics class, Professor Wang asked the students to form groups freely, each writing down the name of the person they least wanted to work with and submitting it to him. As expected, Yin Sheng wrote Ji Dan's name, and she hated being in a group with him. Professor Wang wanted his students to train in adversity, so he grouped them in pairs that hated each other. Ji Dan drew the topic of surveying students' views on love. They had to collect data, and the error had to be less than 0.1. In addition, they had to record the survey process to prevent cheating. First, Yin Sheng asked Ji Dan to create a survey table and set up the survey in the cafeteria. At the appointed place, Yin Sheng carried a professional camera, and Ji Dan also stayed up all night making a detailed survey table. But no one had enough time to answer dozens of questions. Ji Dan quickly asked Yin Sheng's best friend, Yuan Shun, for help, but he also refused. Yin Sheng wanted to change positions, so he instructed Ji Dan to film. She practiced distinguishing between wide shots and close-ups, just as she was accidentally pushed into his chest. Yin Sheng nervously reminded Ji Dan not to damage the camera. As expected, the world values looks, and no girl could refuse a handsome genius. Ji Dan was worried that surveying many girls and few boys would unbalance the data. Yin Sheng asked Hu Ling to gather everyone at the coffee shop. Ji Dan handed out questionnaires and asked everyone to answer truthfully. Hu Ling thought the biggest problem was how to get a girlfriend. Just then, Yin Tong and Yuan Shen arrived and also helped out. Ji Dan summarized that one more survey was needed, so she asked Yin Sheng. He chose a soulmate-like love, where they could understand what he was thinking just by looking at each other. Hu Ling thought that besides Yin Sheng's mother, only Yin Tong understood him best. Yin Sheng added that she also had to be good at math and like swimming. Hu Ling pointed the camera towards Ji Dan because only she met those strict standards. Back at the dorm, Hu Ling caught Yin Sheng replaying the scene where Ji Dan bumped into his chest. On the other side, She was also dazed watching that moment. Yu Tang became even more jealous of Ji Dan. She secretly read Yin Sheng's message reminding Ji Dan to correct the data, then deleted it. At the presentation, Yin Sheng, seeing the uncorrected data, quickly pulled out his USB. He said that the content was all in his head and asked to present orally. Although Yin Sheng presented very well, Professor Wang only gave him a C because the group project required a combination of presentation and a PowerPoint. Yin Sheng pulling out the USB had effectively disowned Ji Dan. After class, Ji Dan asked Yin Sheng for an explanation. He questioned why she hadn't corrected the data. If he hadn't turned off the PowerPoint, they might not have even gotten a C. Back at the dorm, Ji Dan sighed, complaining about losing her full scholarship and having to figure out how to pay for tuition next semester. Otherwise, she would be forced to drop out. Yu Tang felt a little guilty, unaware that she had caused such a serious mistake. At the coffee shop, Ji Dan asked for a part-time job. Sure Z said the shop wasn't short-staffed, but Yin Sheng was recruiting members for the swimming club. Ying Tong thought the school paid low wages, so she introduced another job to Ji Dan. Coincidentally, Mifan's cosplay club rented a venue for an event at the shop where Ji Dan worked part-time. Yin Sheng was also invited, but didn't recognize Ji Dan wearing a fox mask. She deliberately put mustard in Yin Sheng's cup of water. Just as a colleague asked her to carry water to a customer, she turned back and unexpectedly saw several identical cups of water. The boss caught Ji Dan secretly drinking a customer's water. If she caused any more trouble, she would be forced to quit. During this event, Mifan invited the legend of the cosplay world and her idol, Lord Lu Shui. She heard a struggle and rushed in to chase away the paparazzi. Mifan found the idol's voice a little familiar, but he insisted he had never met her. Mifan recognized the bag that looked exactly like Yuan Shun's and tried calling his name. Unexpectedly, Lord Lu Shui was Yuan Shun. He took off his mask and asked her to keep a secret. Meanwhile, Yin Sheng discovered that Ji Dan was working at a pub. He asked her if she was so short on money that she would wear a short dress to please customers. Just then, a customer vomited from drinking water mixed with mustard. The party began, and Lord Lu Shui appeared to everyone's cheers. He was like a god in the cosplay world. He chased after Ji Dan. Yin Sheng guessed a cup of water mixed with mustard was for him. He thought losing this kind of job wasn't regrettable. Ji Dan wished Yin Sheng would stay away from her. In applied mathematics class, Professor Wang announced that the math journal had started accepting 10 student essays. If selected for publication, they would receive extra points for their final grade. Ji Dan was overjoyed because she still had a chance to win a full scholarship. Meeting Yin Sheng, Hu Ling said that Ji Dan lost her full scholarship because she got a C in her elective course. She had to work part-time to afford tuition next semester. He hoped Yin Sheng would help her write an essay for the magazine. At the library, Yin Sheng had already summarized tips for writing essays for Ji Dan. He made an appointment with her to come to the coffee shop at 5 o'clock every day to listen to his guidance. He admitted that it was his fault for not doing it himself, and instead sending a message reminding her to correct the data. Ji Dan clarified that she hadn't received any messages, but Yin Sheng still kept the WeChat history, guessing that someone had deleted messages on Ji Dan's phone. At the coffee shop, Ji Dan offered him a glass of water. He urged her to open the reference material. The idea is on the first page. For example, choose a classic topic on the 10th page. Ji Dan didn't expect him to remember the content on each page. Yin Sheng told her not to waste time and to focus on his guidance. After a night of researching the topic, Ji Dan fell asleep at the coffee shop. Yin Sheng unconsciously brushed a lock of hair off Ji Dan's cheek, then quickly pulled his hand back. He woke her up and asked if she had finished writing the essay. He checked it once and agreed to let her submit it to the magazine. But while Yin Sheng was out, Ji Dan wiped her phone. She noticed that it didn't look like Yin Sheng's old phone. Just then, Sure Z passed by and praised Ji Dan for buying the latest model. Yin Sheng walked in and realized that Ji Dan knew he had bought a new phone. She gave him all her part-time earnings, promising to pay the rest when she had enough money. After finding a good math problem, Yin Sheng sent it to the familiar book again. Ji Dan left a message telling him to refer to Number Theory by author H.D., published in 2002. But he searched the entire library and couldn't find that book. Yin Sheng decided to borrow from the goddess, making an appointment with her at the bookshelf at 7 o'clock tonight. Meeting their pen pal, Ji Dan and Yin Sheng were both nervously anticipating. Just then, Yin Sheng received a call from Ji Dan's phone. A man said that the owner had forgotten her phone at the pizza place, and if Yin Sheng didn't come within 20 minutes, he would take the phone. Yin Sheng had to break his appointment with the goddess to get the phone for Ji Dan. Knowing that Yin Sheng was meeting his pen pal, Yin Tong also came to the library. She saw Ji Dan holding a Greek mathematics book, waiting for a friend. Yin Tong didn't expect Ji Dan to be the goddess in Yin Sheng's heart. At the pizza shop, Yin Sheng asked for the phone back. The friend looked at Yin Sheng, thinking he didn't look like the phone owner's boyfriend from earlier. Yin Sheng discovered that Ji Dan hadn't set a password. He looked at the phone number with 3 hearts, wondering if she really had a boyfriend. Meanwhile, Ji Dan couldn't wait for her pen pal. She clipped her phone number in the book, but Yin Tong secretly stole it. She also recommended this book to a math student friend, telling him to read it carefully. Back at the library, Yin Sheng bumped into Ji Dan. He questioned her, asking if she had just been on a date. How long had they known each other? Ji Dan said they had known each other for a while, but had only just met. Yin Sheng thought that you know a person's face, but not their heart, and he advised her to be careful not to be sold out and help others count money. Ji Dan said she was just exchanging academic joys with him, and besides, who she knew had nothing to do with him. Yin Sheng clarified that he was afraid she would be impulsive and forget her phone at the shop again. Just then, the 3-heart phone number called, and Yin Sheng watched Ji Dan happily answer the phone, thinking she was actually dating. Back at the dorm, Ji Dan just learned that Yin Sheng had set a password on her phone. She guessed and guessed but couldn't figure out, blaming Mifun for leaving her phone at the shop. It turned out that Mifun's phone had run out of battery, so she borrowed Ji Dan's phone to contact Lord Lu Shui. Ji Dan heard Yin Sheng say the password was curly noodles. She tried entering the date they first met and, as expected, the phone opened. When Yin Sheng returned, everyone wondered what the goddess looked like. He said he was busy getting the phone for Ji Dan and had broken his appointment with her. Hu Ling didn't expect that in Yin Sheng's heart, Ji Dan was even more important than the goddess. On Singles Day, the swimming club organized a wish card writing activity. Hu Ling met Ji Dan and Mi Fun and quickly pulled the 2 girls to participate. He noted that the wishes had to be achievable today. After collecting enough cards, Ji Dan drew Hu Ling's wish. She blamed him for taking the opportunity to ask for game components. Mi Fun hoped to draw Yuan Shun's card, but unexpectedly, she had to buy swimwear for someone else. Yuan Shun had a pet cats with Yin Tong, and Shi Zi took cosplay photos with Mi Fun. The 2 guys, understanding the hint, swapped cards. Hu Ling carried the box of cards and made the president participate. Yin Sheng only had one wish, which was to quickly solve the math problem in front of him. Unexpectedly, Hu Ling unluckily drew his best friend's card. Yin Sheng coincidentally drew Ji Dan's wish, hoping to meet her math pen pal. Knowing that Ji Dan was reluctant to spend money on game components, Hu Ling tempted her to change her wish. She looked at the card with Yin Sheng's name on it and preferred to spend money on Hu Ling. He asked her for help, as he couldn't lose face in front of the club members. At the library, Yin Sheng saw Ji Dan solving his math problem. He thought that conventional thinking wouldn't solve this puzzle. She complained that he was abnormal for wishing to solve a problem on a special day. While Ji Dan went to get water, Yin Sheng discovered that she was reading the book number theory published in 2002. He was sure that she was his pen pal. Just then, the 3-heart phone number called. Yin Sheng had to answer the phone for Ji Dan. He thought it was her boyfriend, but unexpectedly, it was Ji Dan's grandma. He was flustered and quickly handed the phone to her. Ji Dan blamed Yin Sheng for answering her phone without permission, in case her grandma misunderstood that she had a boyfriend. He remembered her bragging about going on a date last night. Ji Dan clarified that she had only met a pen pal. Yin Sheng was secretly happy, blaming her for not explaining earlier. Meanwhile, Yuan Shun took Mi Fun to the photo studio. He helped her fulfill her wish to take cosplay photos with Lord Lu Shui. He transformed into a cold immortal to the world, only doting on his consort. In applied mathematics class, Professor Wang announced that the journal had chosen to publish Ji Dan's essay. She was overjoyed and thanked Yin Sheng for his help. A taxi took Yin Sheng to dinner. Ji Dan wore a dress for the first time. Yin Sheng stared in a daze, his heart unconsciously fluttering. He used the excuse of it being convenient to pick her up. Ji Dan planned to take a public electric car, but forgot that she was wearing a dress. She had to call a shared taxi to save money, making Yin Sheng sit next to a rough-looking senior. At the seafood buffet restaurant, Ji Dan took twice as much food as Yin Sheng. He asked her what she thought of her pen pal. Ji Dan commented that he was smart but had terrible character. He had broken their appointment and disappeared without a trace. Knowing that the meal wasn't cheap, Yin Sheng secretly went out to pay, but the receptionist told him that Ji Dan had dialed a number and won a free meal. Yin Sheng deliberately ordered the most expensive bottle of champagne in the restaurant. Ji Dan used the excuse of being allergic to alcohol and could only drink beer. The staff said the restaurant had imported German dark beer. Ji Dan thought drinking beer would make her bloated, but unexpectedly, Yin Sheng had already opened the champagne. She drank it to avoid wasting it. As she heard the bottle cost more than 600 yuan, Ji Dan went out to pay, but Yin Sheng had already paid. He criticized her for thanking him, but inviting him to a free meal. Ji Dan believed that sincerity couldn't be measured by money. She promised to fulfill one of his requests. Yin Sheng asked Ji Dan to help the club welcome visitors to the school. Just then, a staff member asked Yin Sheng to answer a survey. Ji Dan saw a pair of beautiful climbing shoes but didn't have enough money to buy them. During the school tour, Ji-dan had to host a group of elementary school students. She saw them walking in a line, not as unruly as people said. But after only 5 minutes, she was already out of breath. Finally, it ended, but one student named Yu-jiang was missing. Ji-dan quickly ran to find her. It turned out that Yu-jiang was busy taking pictures of small ants. The little girl saw them diligently carrying breadcrumbs, but carelessly, they were stepped on. Just then, Yin-sheng arrived. After saying a few words, Yu-jiang was gone. He heard the little girl call for help, but didn't dare to go into the water because a good friend of his had died saving him. Ji-dan managed to save the little girl and handed her back to the teacher. Yin-sheng saw Ji-dan limping, but still trying to walk, so he carried her to the infirmary. The doctor told Ji-dan not to step on the ground for a week. Yin-sheng quickly found a bicycle to conveniently take Ji-dan back to the dorm. She sat behind, lightly grasping the hem of his clothes. He didn't turn around, but the corners of his lips unconsciously curved upwards. Since he couldn't enter the girl's dorm, Yin-sheng had to ask a club member to bring lunch to Ji-dan. She looked at the tray of vegetables. Just then, he called to say that he had chosen the meal according to nutritional standards. Ji-dan carelessly dropped the lid of the lunchbox, but Yin-sheng was afraid she would fall, so he told her to open the video. Otherwise, he would rush into the dorm to save her. He criticized her for wearing a childish shirt and for her messy dorm room. Just then, Mi-fan came in and told Yin-sheng to take responsibility. Early in the morning, Yin-sheng arrived to take Ji-dan to school. He waited for her class to end and then took her to the club. He trained for her, which made all the members enthusiastic. He took everyone to the beach to improve their physical fitness. Ji-dan saw everyone out of breath and quickly asked Yin-sheng to train them step by step back to the club office. Yin-sheng met In-tong and borrowed her computer. When she heard that he was picking up Ji-dan again, she poured water on the keyboard. Yin-sheng heard that In-tong hadn't finished her essay, so he had to help her fix the computer first. He texted Ji-dan, saying he had an urgent matter and told her to be careful on her way home. While waiting for the computer to be fixed, In-tong invited Yin-sheng to eat cake. She deliberately took a picture with him in the background to post on social media. As expected, Ji-dan saw it and thought Yin-sheng was busy dating In-tong. The next day, Ji-dan no longer needed Yin-sheng to pick her up and drop her off. She saw that he was very busy, and her leg had also recovered. Finally, Ji-dan's leg bandage was removed. Mi-fan blamed Yin-sheng for saying he would take responsibility, but being absent at the most important moment. Ji-dan didn't want to bother Yin-sheng, but she didn't know that he was secretly looking through the glass door. At the library, Yin-sheng borrowed the Greek mathematics book again. He clipped a note with an apology, asking to meet the goddess again. He carefully put the book away, hoping it would reach her. Ji-dan looked at the phone number, which seemed a little familiar. Coincidentally, Mi-fan spilled coffee on the paper, so Ji-dan had to leave her phone number, hoping he would contact her. At the library, Hu-ling's group saw Ji-dan also studying for exams. He invited the two girls to study with his group. Yin-sheng urged everyone not to fall behind in the midterm exam. Yin-sheng secretly looked at Ji-dan, but she avoided his gaze. The whole group studied until late at night. In-tong asked Yin-sheng to explain the lesson, which disappointed Shirzi. Yin-sheng told Ji-dan to go buy coffee with him. Shirzi knew In-tong was sad, so he quickly made a toy to comfort her. Before buying coffee, Yin-sheng asked Ji-dan to find a book about a female mathematician. She enthusiastically introduced the biography of Hypatia, the world's first female mathematician. She said she had met a friend through this book. Just then, a thunderstorm erupted, causing the power in the library to go out. Yin-sheng lit up the room with lights and asked Ji-dan if she wanted to meet her pen pal. She thought she wasn't destined to, and she had torn the boy's phone number. Yin-sheng guessed the last two digits were 1 and 3. Ji-dan tried calling, and unexpectedly, Yin-sheng's phone rang. Yes, Ji-dan is very happy to meet you. On the school campus, Yin-sheng kindly picked up something for an old woman. She wanted to surprise her granddaughter, so she asked him to take it to the girl's dorm. She saw Yin-sheng about to give a pair of women's shoes. Surely he liked that girl very much. Otherwise, she would introduce her granddaughter to him. She said her granddaughter always won scholarships and participated in the swimming club. Yin-sheng heard Ji-dan call her grandma and introduced himself as the president of the swimming club. She urged him to quickly give the shoes to his girlfriend. Yin-sheng was afraid Ji-dan would misunderstand, so he gave her the shoes. At the cafeteria, Yin-sheng took Hu-ling to greet Ji-dan's grandma. She wondered who took care of Ji-dan when she was injured. Yin-sheng said that she sprained her ankle while hosting visitors for the club, so he took care of her as part of his official duties. Ji-dan blamed Yin-sheng for only talking and then abandoning her to eat cake. Yin-sheng explained that he went to fix In-tong's computer and only stopped by the bakery while waiting. He asked her if she had been ignoring him all this time because of this. Her grandma quickly changed the subject, asking Hu-ling to take a commemorative photo of him seeing everyone off to the girls' dorm. Yin Sheng saw that Ji Dan's grandma was not feeling well. He suddenly remembered the paper she dropped on the campus, which stated a diagnosis of chronic heart failure. He chased after her to give her a small gift and asked to talk to her privately. He said he had read the test results and told her to take her medicine on time. She asked Yin Sheng to keep it a secret so that Ji Dan could study peacefully. Just then, the village head came to pick her up to go back to her hometown. Ji Dan questioned Yin Sheng about what he talked about with her grandma. He said her grandma wanted him to be her grandson-in-law to manage her. Meeting Ji Dan, Yin Tong confided in her about her feelings. She said Yin Sheng told her he liked her. She also liked him, but it was a little awkward because they had been friends for a long time. Yin Tong hoped Ji Dan would bless her and Yin Sheng. Finally, the midterm exam ended. Hu Ling called Ji Dan to celebrate, but she quickly pulled Mi Fun and ran away. Yin Tong met Yin Sheng privately and asked him to take her to buy a shirt for Shi. She had broken his shirt button and wanted to buy him a new set. Unexpectedly, Yin Sheng brought Shi and then retreated. Coincidentally, Ji Dan also came to the shopping mall. She caught Yin Tong buying a shirt for Shi and didn't deny it when the staff treated them as a couple. Ji Dan returned to school and saw Yin Sheng wiping his tears. She guessed he was heartbroken and went to comfort him. It turned out that he had eaten rice mixed with mustard, which made his eyes water. She asked him if he wasn't heartbroken because of Yin Tong. Yin Sheng affirmed that he had never been in a relationship, and he only considered Yin Tong a friend. Back at the dorm, Ji Dan told her best friend everything. Mifan guessed that Yin Tong was jealous and made up the story that Yin Sheng liked her. Mifan asked Ji Dan to think of a way for her to confess her feelings to Lord Lu Shui. At the coffee shop, Ji Dan booked a spot for a confession on Saturday night. She said he was Shi's roommate to get a discount. The boss then assigned Shi to prepare the confession scene for Ji Dan. Returning with the good news, Shi told Yin Sheng that Ji Dan had booked a spot at the coffee shop to confess her feelings to his roommate. Yin Sheng was confident that she wasn't the only one who liked him, but his heart was pounding with anticipation. On the sports field, Ji Dan set up a stall to help Mifan earn money to book the confession venue. Hu Ling came to buy something to support her and was given an extra box of men's underwear. He found it wasn't the right size, so he gave it to Yin Sheng. Shi praised Ji Dan for risking her life for love. He heard the boss say that Ji Dan didn't have enough money, less than 1,000 yuan, to rent the venue, so she was thinking of ways to gather money. Yin Sheng didn't expect her to like him that much. Passing by the stall, Yin Tong bought an item. She saw the person next to her break a lipstick, but pretended not to see it. A customer who bought that lipstick then sued Ji Dan for selling unscrupulous goods. Just then, the school principal arrived, asking who dared to sell goods on the campus. Ji Dan had to return the money to the customer and had all her goods confiscated. Yin Sheng appeared like a savior, introducing a high-paying job. It was to clean the swimming pool before tomorrow morning and earn 1,000 yuan. Finally, Mifan had enough money to rent the venue. Shi secretly took a picture of Ji Dan preparing the confession scene to send to Yin Sheng. Anxiously arriving at the coffee shop, Yin Sheng asked Ji Dan if he was too early. She asked him to help her hang paper cranes. Yin Sheng thought Ji Dan had written a confession in the paper cranes, so he opened them to read first. She scolded him for messing things up and chased him away. Yin Sheng curiously pressed a remote control on the table, and unexpectedly, all the balloons flew up into the sky. He praised her for her sincerity and immediately agreed. Just then, Mifun frantically reported that Yuan Shun was coming soon. Yin Sheng looked at the screen and realized that this party wasn't for him. When Yuan Shun arrived, Mifun timidly confessed her feelings. "I really admire Lord Lu Shui, and I really like you in real life, Yuan Shun. Are you willing to be my boyfriend?" Before Yuan Shun could agree, he discovered someone secretly taking pictures. The romantic confession suddenly turned into a chase. After that, the school forum exploded with news. Yuan Shun was Lord Lu Shui. They even compared Mi Fun's confession to a toad trying to eat swan meat. Yuan Shun decided to livestream, admitting that he was Lord Lu Shui. He clarified that Mi Fun was not his girlfriend because he hadn't successfully confessed yet. "Yes, Mi Fun, I will wait under the dorm for your answer." Yuan Shun held a bouquet of roses, hoping Mi Fun would agree to be his girlfriend. "Yuan Shun, I agree." Finally, Mi Fun's confession had a beautiful ending. After Mi Fun's confession, the boss decided to offer a discount on the venue for couples. Hu Ling advised Yin Sheng to seize the opportunity to confess his feelings to Ji Dan. He read a flyer that said before confessing, one must check if the other person likes them. For example, if he calls, she will answer immediately. Yin Sheng applied this by calling Ji Dan to meet him at the office. He looked at her wearing a different dress than usual and secretly delighted. Yin Sheng gave Ji Dan a box of fried chicken to continue observing her reaction. Coincidentally, Ji Dan had just eaten Mi Fun's fried chicken and was full, but Yin Sheng thought she was trying to maintain her image in front of him. Ji-dan remembered me from saying she was hungry, so she asked permission to take it back to share with her friend. Yin-sheng saw her forget her phone and quickly chased after her. He heard her say she had eaten too much fried chicken and couldn't eat Yin-sheng's portion. She got ketchup on her clothes and had to borrow Mi Fun's dress temporarily. Yin-sheng was disappointed and returned the phone to Ji-dan. Just then, a ball flew towards them, and she quickly caught it for him. Yin-sheng remembered that the love secret stated that someone who likes him would value him more than themselves. He regained his confidence and went online to research gifts for girls. Meeting Ji-dan, Yin-tong sighed, complaining that Yin-sheng hadn't signed up for the city-level swimming competition. He used to be a swimming champion, but now he refused all competitions. Ji-dan wondered what exactly happened to Yin-sheng. Yin-tong remembered that the waves were very rough that day, but Yin-sheng insisted on going swimming. She had saved him from drowning, but the accident haunted Yin-sheng. Yin-tong knew that Ji-dan, as a psychology student, would surely have a way to persuade him. She had compiled moments of Yin-sheng winning awards and showed them to him through Ji-dan. Passing by the swimming pool, Ji-dan saw Yin-sheng trying to get into the water, but he was still helpless against his psychological barrier. She realized that his past affected him greatly. At the New Year's party, Yin-sheng told Ji-dan to sit next to him. Mi-fan prepared task cards for everyone to perform. She drew a card that required her to be carried princess style by a friend of the opposite sex. Yuan-shun helped his girlfriend complete it, conveniently showing off their affection to their single friends. Hu-ling performed a female dance to liven up the atmosphere. He read Ji-dan's task, which was to answer whether she had her first kiss or not. He wondered if it was the inverted kiss with Yin-sheng. Hu-ling continued to read Yin-sheng's task, which was to kiss the person on his left or right. Yin-sheng chose Ji-dan, but he couldn't kiss her at the dinner table. He pulled her outside, determined to express his feelings. Ji-dan nervously accidentally stepped on the screen's power button. She played a video of Yin-sheng winning the championship and then adjusted his glasses. She hoped he would rediscover his dream and bravely return to the swimming pool. But Yin-sheng said Ji-dan was not qualified to interfere in his private matters. Ji-dan stood frozen, and Yin-tong had achieved her goal of separating the two. Yin-sheng went to the sea, his mood like the surging waves offshore. During the winter break, Ji-dan went back to her hometown to visit her grandma. Just then, a delivery person arrived, and Ji-dan found that Yin-sheng had sent cardiovascular medicine for her grandma. She worried about what was wrong with her grandma. Her grandma said she had chronic heart failure, but taking medicine regularly would control it. Despite this, Ji-dan still went to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor advised her grandma to be admitted to the hospital for treatment soon, but the cost was not cheap. She hid her tears and went back to ask her grandma for permission to participate in social activities to receive subsidies. Since Ji-dan hadn't registered to stay during the winter break, she couldn't enter the dorm. It turned out that she came to school early to work part-time and earn money. Shi happened to pass by and offered to take Ji-dan home. She said she rented a cheap room nearby. Just then, Shi's car wouldn't start. Ji-dan borrowed a spare battery to help Shi fix it. He told her to go with him because he was afraid the car would break down again on the way. At the car repair shop, Ji-dan saw the boss recruiting people and offering free accommodation. She applied for the job, even though the repair shop only had male employees. Today, at the coffee shop, Shi asked Yin-sheng to pick up the car for the boss tomorrow. Yin-sheng went to the car repair shop and was surprised to see Ji-dan crawling out. He looked around at all the male employees and told her to let him know if she was short on money. Ji-dan refused, wanting to earn money herself. Yin-sheng said nothing more and drove out of the shop. Meeting Shi, Yin-sheng asked his best friend if he knew Ji-dan was working at the car repair shop. Shi said he met her handing out flyers on the main road. She seemed to be really short on money, willing to stay in the car repair shop's free dorm. Meeting Ji-dan, Yin-sheng wanted to sign a contract with her. He said he would be going abroad soon and needed someone to clean periodically. Ji-dan refused, but Yin-sheng hoped she would reconsider. Just then, a colleague came to inform her that 2 new employees would be staying with Ji-dan. She was scared and texted to accept Yin-sheng's offer. It turned out he hired her colleagues to do that. Moving to Yin-sheng's aunt's house, Ji-dan gave him some hometown specialties. She thanked him for regularly sending medicine to her grandma. Yin-sheng heard that the meat preparation was too complicated, so he asked Ji-dan to cook it. He said he would return to eat after she finished cooking. He tasted one dish after another, evaluating them as nearly meeting his standards. Yin-sheng wondered when Ji-dan learned to cook. She said that when she was 10 years old, her parents died in an accident, and she saw her grandma struggling, so she learned to do housework. Yin-sheng volunteered to be a guinea pig to help Ji-dan practice her cooking skills. But the next day, Yin-sheng came again for a free meal. He heard that she cooked delicious stewed trotters, so he wanted to taste them. As expected, Ji-dan's specialty dish was very good, but he only commented that it was acceptable. She guessed that the ingredients weren't fresh and remembered a place that delivered very good food. He quickly ordered meat and asked her to make grilled meat. He wanted her to be in charge of cooking from now on, and he would be in charge of eating. On her way to work, Ji-Dan received a discount coupon for a barbecue shop. She remembered that Yin Sheng liked to eat barbecue, so she texted him an invitation. Meanwhile, Yin Tong heard that it was the first snow of the season tonight, so she invited Yin Sheng to eat. She thought he should invite everyone to eat on the last day of his charity event. Yin Sheng was a little awkward and texted Ji-Dan that he would be late. He arrived at the barbecue shop early. Ji-Dan eagerly waited for Yin Sheng, but she waited and still didn't see him. She heard the staff wanting to combine tables and quickly retreated first. Meanwhile, Yin Sheng asked Yin Tong for permission to leave early to show some sincerity to everyone. As a result, Ji-Dan was still alone late at night. The first snowflakes unexpectedly fell, comforting her mood. A familiar figure also appeared before her eyes. Yin Sheng approached in the white snow. "Sorry for making you wait so long. Ji-Dan, let's go home and eat." Yin Sheng asked Ji-Dan if she knew the meaning of the first snow of the season. It turned out that he read on an advertisement screen that you should be with your loved one when the first snow falls. So, he dropped everything and ran to her side. But Ji-Dan only understood Yin Sheng's words after reading Michigan Fun's post. She blushed right as he offered her wine. The two sat on the sofa, sipping wine and watching the snow fall. Ji-Dan looked at a photo, wondering who the person standing next to Yin Sheng was. His voice suddenly deepened as he said that person was no longer alive. He apologized for losing his temper with her at the New Year's party. Ji-Dan recognized Nan Yuan appearing in the swimming award video. Yin Sheng remembered Nan Yuan growing up with him and then drowning because of him. The waves were huge that day. Nan Yuan had wanted to go back, but Yin Sheng regretted putting in the effort to go to sea. They dived deep to the bottom of the sea and then separated to admire the beautiful scenery. An unexpected accident struck. Nan Yuan found his oxygen tank was empty, and his life jacket also had a problem. Yin Sheng saw his friend struggling and swam towards Nan Yuan. He intended to give him his oxygen tank, but unexpectedly, his own was also empty. He tried hard to pull Nan Yuan up, but then fell into a state of oxygen deprivation. Yin Tong arrived just in time and gave Yin Sheng the only spare breathing tube. He wanted to save his friend, but his whole body lost strength. He could only blink and watch Nan Yuan gradually sink to the bottom of the sea. Hearing the doorbell, Ji-Dan suddenly woke up. She saw Yin Sheng hugging her leg and quickly ran out to see who was there. She saw Mi-Fan also helping to hide Yin Sheng in the kitchen. He didn't hide because he had nothing to be ashamed of. Outside, Yuan Shun remembered that Yin Sheng hid the spare key in the flower basket. Mi-Fan rushed in just as Ji-Dan fell into Yin Sheng's arms. Ji-Dan tried hard to explain, but Yin Sheng said the situation was just as the two friends had seen it. Visiting Ji-Dan, Yin Tong asked if she had seen Yin Sheng. Ji-Dan said she was at his aunt's house. She had heard Yin Sheng talk about Nan Yuan, which was very different from the upperclassman story. Yin Tong apologized, saying she didn't expect Yin Sheng to still be so haunted. Returning to see Yin Sheng carrying a suitcase, Ji-Dan thought he wanted to stay with her. Yin Sheng said he had to participate in a volunteer exchange in Qingzhou, so he wouldn't be coming over for dinner anymore. He bought some food, enough for her to eat until he returned. Accepting Yin Sheng's request, Hu Ling went to visit Ji-Dan. She wondered when Yin Sheng's aunt would return. Hu Ling begged her not to come back, as she was the nightmare of his life. Hu Ling choked up just mentioning her. He felt a chill, but unexpectedly, she really did return. Yin Sheng's aunt, named Ji San, enunciated each word to Hu Ling. She grabbed his neck and asked who Ji-Dan was. Hu Ling quickly hid behind the chair and introduced Ji-Dan as Yin Sheng's friend. He asked to retreat first, telling Ji-Dan to be careful. Ji San cornered Ji-Dan against the wall, asking her what her relationship with her nephew was. Ji-Dan asked to go back to her room to pack her bags and leave immediately. Meanwhile, the village head called Yin Sheng. He reported that Ji-Dan's grandma had been hospitalized but couldn't reach her. Yin Sheng asked Yin Tong to lead the volunteer group so he could go to the hospital to visit Ji-Dan's grandma. At that time, Ji-Dan borrowed a power bank from a stranger. She read Yin Sheng's message and only then learned that her grandma had fainted. She ran to the hospital, hearing Yin Sheng say that her grandma's life was not in danger. The doctor reported that the surgery was very successful but needed a few more days of observation. In the hospital room, the nurse called the family to pay the hospital fees. Yin Sheng told Ji-Dan to stay because her grandma would want to see her first when she woke up. The nurse praised Ji-Dan's boyfriend for being handsome and thoughtful. She waited for Yin Sheng to return and then transferred money to him. Just then, her grandma woke up, telling her granddaughter not to worry. She felt bad for bothering Yin Sheng on New Year's Eve. Ji-Dan promised to urge him to go home and that she would celebrate the new year with her grandma. After her grandma fell asleep, Yin Sheng called Ji Dan out. He took her to the riverside to watch the New Year's fireworks. Han Yin Sheng, thank you. At this moment, Ji Dan temporarily put aside all her worries and happily welcomed the new year with Yin Sheng. In the new semester, Yin Sheng brought his aunt into the dorm. He saw a photo on the table and realized that Ji Dan was also in this room. Just then, she called me fun to bring her a towel. Yin Sheng hadn't calmed down yet when Ji Dan urged him. He had to close his eyes and hand her the towel. Ji Dan said her grandma told her to be good to Yin Sheng, but she didn't know what else he needed. Meeting Yin Sheng, Ji Dan asked about the club's evaluation criteria. He said the school evaluates based on awards and members' abilities. Clubs with low scores would not receive funding, and if they ranked last for a long time, they would be disbanded. Back at the club, Ji Dan urged the members to practice. Ji Sen unexpectedly came to ask to join the club for extra points. She had won international artificial climbing championships, the U.S. Youth Climbing Championship, and a national gold medal in the Women's Forward Cup climbing competition. Ji Dan joyfully welcomed the expert to save the club, but Ji Sen complained about the amateur space and old equipment. Back at the dorm, Ji Dan encountered Ji Sen again. She hoped Ji Sen would submit her application to join so the club could receive more funding. Ji Sen offered Ji Dan a chance to compete with her. If she lost, she would listen to the president. At the climbing club, Ji Sen caught Ji Dan arriving late for practice. She was confident of winning because her opponent was too weak. Yin Sheng admitted his fault for bringing Ji Dan into his aunt's house. Ji Sen was fair and she just didn't want to waste time on an unprofessional club. Yin Sheng remembered that Ji Dan had only been climbing for a few months but had made great progress. If she wasn't capable enough to lead the club, he wouldn't have returned the venue. On the day of the competition, everyone cheered for Ji Dan. Ji Sen hoped the president wouldn't fall too far behind. The competition began, and both climbed with all their might. Ji Sen, as expected of an artificial climbing champion, climbed very quickly and steadily. But Ji Dan's efforts were extraordinary. She still kept up with her opponent. She unexpectedly slipped, making everyone's hearts skip a beat. Yin Sheng, busy with a meeting, watched the match on his phone. He saw her get injured and quickly rushed back to the club. Ji Sen paused because of Ji Dan's perseverance. Both finished at the same time, which made everyone cheer. Ji Sen agreed to join the climbing club. Ji Dan hoped Ji Sen could be everyone's coach. Ji Sen criticized Ji Dan for being old-fashioned in her speech, but reminded the members to start practicing tomorrow morning. Back at the club, Yin Sheng carried Ji Dan to the infirmary. He felt that his aunt had targeted Ji Dan, so he had to take responsibility for her. Ji Dan watched Yin Sheng meticulously apply medicine to her, and the corners of her mouth unconsciously curved upwards. She admired every detail of his face. She suddenly felt a sharp pain and blamed him for not being gentle. Yin Sheng reminded Ji Dan to remember that her grandma told her to treat him well. She wondered if he was the one who gave her the towel. Yin Sheng explained that he carried luggage for his aunt. He told her to sit still so he could apply the medicine. The next day, Ji Sen thought everyone had skipped practice, but unexpectedly, they gave her a surprise birthday. Ji Sen called it old-fashioned but closed her eyes tightly to make a wish. Everyone prepared a gift for the vice president. Just then, Yin Sheng walked in and got a piece of cake right in the middle of his face. He pulled out a tissue from his pocket, unaware that he had dropped his necklace box. He went to a restaurant to celebrate his birthday. Ji Sen told everyone not to go home until they were drunk. They organized games and drank bottle after bottle of wine. Ji Sen, drunk, wanted to drink more, while Yin Sheng staggered, wanting to go home. He thought he was a traffic policeman standing in the middle of the road directing lanes. Ji Dan reported a violator to pull him to the side of the road. Yin Sheng discovered a homeless kitten. Ji Dan wanted to pet the cat, but unexpectedly, Yin Sheng held her hand and touched his hair. In the car, Ji Dan secretly looked at Yin Sheng's flushed cheek. He suddenly opened his eyes and pressed her against the car door. He leaned closer to her lips just as the driver braked suddenly. Ji Dan quickly pulled Yin Sheng back to sitting upright and calmed her heart, which was about to burst out of her chest. Waking up in the morning, Yin Sheng didn't remember Ji Dan taking him home. He found that his necklace box was missing and was afraid that he had confessed his feelings while drunk. He suddenly remembered the moment he almost kissed Ji Dan in the taxi. Meanwhile, Ji Sen opened a necklace box engraved with the name Hypatia. Ji Dan introduced it as the name of the world's first female mathematician. Ji Sen guessed Yin Sheng gave it to her, blaming her nephew for not buying something to her liking. She knew Ji Dan was also passionate about math, so she gave a necklace to her junior. Waiting for Ji Dan to finish class, Yin Sheng saw her wearing the necklace. He asked if he had done anything special last night. Did she agree? Ji Dan remembered the moment he touched her hair, and she shyly nodded. Yin Sheng thought he had successfully confessed and immediately put on his backpack to take his girlfriend to lunch. While in line, Yin Sheng waited to hold Ji Dan's hand. He looked at her contentedly, just as Ji Dan raised both hands to her face. He was startled, pulled his hand back, and apologized for holding the wrong person. Before leaving, Yin Sheng gathered all his courage and took his girlfriend's hand. Just then, Ji San called, thanking her nephew for giving her a necklace and buying her a bag. She didn't like math, so she gave a necklace to Ji Dan. Yin Sheng realized his misunderstanding and awkwardly urged Ji Dan to go to her room. Sneaking into the climbing club, Hu Ling opened Ji San's locker to destroy the deck of cards printed with his childhood photos. He breathed a sigh of relief, feeling that he no longer had to fear her. Unexpectedly, a paparazzi taking candid photos thought Hu Ling was stealing women's underwear. Just then, Ji San walked in and accused Hu Ling of being a pervert. He asked her to pretend to be his girlfriend so that the news wouldn't spread online. Ji San told him that from now on, he had to completely obey her. Knowing that the student council was organizing a matchmaking event, Ji San wanted to find a boyfriend for Ji Dan. Meanwhile, Hu Ling asked Yin Sheng to give a cup to Ji Dan. He heard Ji San say that she had experienced pottery making but forgot to bring her product back. Ji Dan urgently needed it to give to a potential match at the matchmaking event. It turned out that Ji San had asked Hu Ling to act out a scene to force Yin Sheng to confess to Ji Dan. She used the excuse of going to the restroom to leave Ji Dan at the matchmaking event. Yin Sheng arrived furiously and threw the cup at Ji Dan. He asked her if she was so eager to find a boyfriend that she had even prepared a gift. Ji Dan explained that she only came with Ji San. She left the gift and angrily ran away. Yin Sheng opened the gift box and found a pair of matching cups for himself. He quickly chased after her, just as Ji Dan slipped and fell. She was afraid of losing face and wanted to run away. Yin Sheng pulled Ji Dan back and asked her if she was going to the matchmaking event again. She wondered what right he had to control her. Ji Dan, I have to control my girlfriend. Yin Sheng, who is your girlfriend? Ji Dan, you've accepted a token of love and you still want to deny it? You are Hypatia, my math goddess. Ji Dan realized that she was the owner of the necklace. Yin Sheng bent down and tied the shirt to cover the stain on his girlfriend's pants. He reminded her to hold his hand tightly, lest she fall again. The two walked side by side in the gentle breeze, each step like a synchronized beat of their hearts. As if from now on, they were no longer alone. In the elective class, Ji Dan intentionally avoided Yin Sheng. He was afraid his girlfriend was angry, so he made her turn back and look at him. Just then, Professor Wang entered and began the class. Yin Sheng had to write a sincere apology letter to his girlfriend first. He threw another crumpled piece of paper, which unexpectedly hit Professor Wang's foot. The teacher read aloud, "Your angry expression is truly adorable." Ji Dan turned around and blamed Yin Sheng for forgetting one eyebrow, making him look like a caterpillar. Holding his girlfriend's hand, Yin Sheng publicly dated Ji Dan at the club. He told her not to cover her face because, to him, she was still very beautiful. She shyly rushed off to borrow makeup remover. Bringing breakfast for her boyfriend, Ji Dan placed it on his table. Yin Tong praised Ji Dan for being a thoughtful girlfriend. But as soon as Ji Dan left, Yin Tong threw the pastry into the trash can. Ji Dan realized she had picked up the wrong pastry without scallions and went back to exchange it for Yin Sheng's. She saw the pastry in the trash can and guessed that Yin Tong was playing tricks. Meeting Yin Tong on the school campus, Ji Dan directly asked why she threw the pastry into the trash can. She pretended not to understand and used the excuse of having to go to class. Ji Dan questioned Yin Tong, asking why she encouraged her to open the video that would provoke Yin Sheng, even though she knew Nin Yuan had passed away. She wanted to tell Yin Sheng everything, so he would know Yin Tong's fake true colors. At the swimming pool, Yin Tong deliberately pretended to drown. Meanwhile, Ji Dan had an appointment with Yin Sheng, just as he received the news that Yin Tong was drowning. At the hospital, Yin Tong asked Shi to get medicine from her bag. Yin Sheng arrived and found that his friend was taking antidepressants. The doctor looked at the medicine and guessed that the patient had experienced a great shock, advising her friends not to agitate her. Yin Tong apologized for hiding it from everyone, but ever since Nin Yuan passed away, she hadn't had a good night's sleep. She had saved Yin Sheng, so she could only blink and watch Nin Yuan sink to the bottom of the sea. Yin Sheng accepted all the blame, as he had insisted on going diving. Just then, Ji Dan called to ask about the upperclassmen. Yin Sheng told her that Yin Tong would wake up soon, and he would go to see her. Yin Tong pretended to be in pain to make Yin Sheng stay. After being discharged from the hospital, Yin Tong's mental state deteriorated day by day. She even couldn't remember calling Yin Sheng. She felt a little frustrated and tore up her music book. Yin Sheng was uneasy leaving his friend alone, so he broke his date with his girlfriend again. Yin Tong deliberately called out Yin Sheng's name to make Ji Dan misunderstand over the phone. On her way to the club, Yin Tong saw Ji Dan and felt dizzy. She weakly asked Yin Sheng to help her back to the lounge. Passing by the swimming club office, Yu Tang accidentally caught Yin Tong swapping pills. she snuck in to pick up the empty pill bottle from the trash can, which only contained vitamin C. Back at the dorm, Yu-Tang lay flat on the bed. Ji-Dan found that she had a high fever and quickly took her to the hospital. The doctor said Yu-Tang had acute appendicitis and needed to be monitored for a few days after surgery. Ji-Dan urged her 2 friends to go back first so she could look after Yu-Tang. Waking up in the morning, Yu-Tang saw Ji-Dan watching over her all night. She asked Ji-Dan to buy her a bottle of vitamin C. When Ji-Dan returned, Yu-Tang complained that all compressed pills looked the same. If there weren't engravings on the pills, they would definitely be easily confused. Outside, Yinsheng thought his girlfriend was hospitalized. He anxiously looked her over from head to toe. Ji-Dan said she was only sick in Yu-Tang's appendicitis. She wondered if he was so afraid of her being sick. Yinsheng claimed to be a model boyfriend. Ji-Dan criticized him for being narcissistic, while the two of them hardly ever met. Yinsheng coaxed his girlfriend just as Eun-Tong called. She said she felt a little tired and asked him to come back to the swimming club. Ji-Dan wanted to go with her boyfriend, asking the senior if she was feeling unwell. Eun-Tong had a slight headache and suddenly remembered she hadn't taken her medicine. Ji-Dan discovered that the senior's medicine had engravings, exactly like Yu-Tang's vitamin C pills. Eun-Tong dropped the cup and deliberately made her hand bleed. Ji-Dan didn't want to see her boyfriend being attentive to another girl, so she asked to leave first. Just then, Shi came in and reported that he had just connected with a foreign psychologist. He needed Eun-Tong's previous psychological evaluation results to propose a treatment plan. Eun-Tong said she had forgotten them somewhere and didn't need treatment anyway. Meeting Eun-Tong, Ji-san asked about her health. Eun-Tong was a little surprised that Ji-san suddenly cared about her. Ji-san remembered Eun-Tong often came here, so she asked a friend to go inside and urged them to make drinks. She took the opportunity while Eun-Tong was away to check the medicine. As expected, Eun-Tong was faking her illness and secretly switched her antidepressant medication for vitamin C. Ji-san told Ji-Dan to call Yinsheng to expose Eun-Tong. Just as she went out, Ji-san pretended to compliment Eun-Tong's beautiful bag. The staff carrying coffee unfortunately spilled it on Eun-Tong's bag. She asked for permission to take it inside to help the customer clean it. Finally, Yinsheng arrived. Just then, the staff brought Eun-Tong's bag back. Ji-san exposed Eun-Tong for faking her illness and switching her medicine for vitamin C. Eun-Tong blamed her friend for insulting her, but Ji-san told her to bring out the medicine to prove it. Ji-san snatched the bag and gave the medicine to Yinsheng. He confirmed that it was antidepressant medication. Ji-san realized it wasn't the medicine from earlier. Eun-Tong didn't blame her 2 friends, only feeling a little tired. Yinsheng chased after Eun-Tong, telling his friend not to overthink things. Eun-Tong weakly asked Yinsheng to take a walk with her. Ji-Dan interjected, apologizing for misunderstanding the senior. She said that she was a psychology major and was willing to help Eun-Tong overcome her illness. At the beach, Eun-Tong asked Ji-Dan to take pictures of her. Ji-Dan happily took 2 pictures, separating the senior from Yinsheng. She asked Eun-Tong to quickly take a picture of her with her boyfriend. She jumped onto his back so they couldn't be separated. He was sitting between his girlfriend and his best friend, and Yinsheng was a little nervous. Eun-Tong asked him to open a bottle of water for her. Ji-Dan quickly served her without needing the senior's thanks. Eun-Tong wanted to drink the can of alcohol in Yinsheng's hand, but Ji-Dan advised the senior not to consume stimulants. Eun-Tong remembered that she had camped on the beach with Yinsheng years ago. He quickly added that Yuan Shun and Shi were also there at the time. Eun-Tong also kept the opera that she and Yinsheng had enjoyed together. Ji-Dan thought that watching tragedies easily caused depression. She played a stand-up comedy to help the senior heal her soul. Eun-Tong blamed Ji-Dan for not knowing that Yinsheng had hated stand-up comedy since childhood. Finally, Yinsheng waited for Shi. He asked Shi to take care of Eun-Tong and then asked to take his girlfriend home first. Shi advised Eun-Tong to let go and not continue making mistakes. It turned out that when the coffee shop staff brought the bag in, he had already discovered that she was faking her illness. He didn't want her to lose face, so he put real antidepressant medication in it. He gave her a chance to confess everything herself. On the way home, Ji-Dan asked her boyfriend if he believed her. She had actually seen vitamin C pills in Eun-Tong's bag. Yinsheng believed that she wouldn't falsely accuse anyone without reason. After learning that his daughter was depressed, Eun-Tong's father wanted to take her abroad for treatment. Eun-Tong said she wasn't sick and would explain to her father when she returned. She didn't expect Yinsheng to be standing right behind her. Eun-Tong, how dare you lie to me? Ji-san remembered that from childhood, Eun-Tong always found ways to drive away girls who got close to Yinsheng. Ji-san told his nephew that Eun-Tong was the one who gave Ji-Dan the video of Nan Yuan. Eun-Tong admitted that she liked Yinsheng too much, which was why she did that. He declared that he already had a girlfriend. Ji-Dan saw that Eun-Tong said she liked Yinsheng, but always used Nan Yuan's death to hurt him. That wasn't love, it was blind control. Gathering everyone, Ji Dan wanted to help Yin Sheng overcome his psychological barrier. She remembered reading in a book that one should guide patients to confront their past. Hu Ling came up with the idea of taking Yin Sheng to the girls' dorm. Ji San, from above, poured a basin of water on Yin Sheng. Unexpectedly, she accidentally bumped into a chair, spilling all the water on Hu Ling. On the second day, Ji Dan asked Yin Sheng to come to the park. They waited for the fountain to open unexpectedly to help Yin Sheng face his past. But Yin Sheng wanted to buy bubble tea for his girlfriend, so he moved away for the fountain's location. Ji Dan had to run and use a kiss to keep him there. Just as the fountain opened, Yin Sheng was utterly immersed in his first kiss. Ji Dan's lips had completely taken over his reason and heart. After hearing his friend's plan, Yin Sheng clarified that he was only afraid of swimming, and standing in the middle of a fountain was no different from showering daily. Hu Ling didn't give up and continued to implement the third plan. He took Yin Sheng to a hot spring and then pretended to drown. Yin Sheng looked at the pool, which was less than a meter deep, and told his friend to stop acting. Ji Dan held her boyfriend's hand and went down to the hot spring, but Yin Sheng wasn't brave enough. She deliberately dropped her necklace and then signaled me fun. The whole group understood and frantically searched. Yin Sheng saw Ji Dan slip and fall, so he panicked and waded in to help her. He fumbled for the necklace and finally found it. Ji Dan hugged Yin Sheng, knowing that he had definitely overcome his psychological barrier. She continued to let him soak in the water and then took him to participate in the competition. Holding her breath, Ji Dan listened to Hu Ling say that Yin Sheng used to hold his breath for 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Everyone believed that Yin Sheng could definitely do it. But when he started the challenge, everyone also held their breath. Everyone erupted with excitement the moment Yin Sheng broke the competition record. At Nan Yuan's house, Yin Sheng timidly greeted the aunt. He introduced Ji Dan as his girlfriend. He apologized for his stubbornness in going diving that year. The aunt had never blamed Yin Sheng because no one wanted the accident to happen. She said she had overcome the pain of loss and hoped Yin Sheng would no longer be haunted. She believed that Nan Yuan, who loved Yin Sheng, definitely wouldn't want him to be like this. Just then, Nan Yuan's father returned, greeted Yin Sheng, and conveniently mentioned that they were preparing to move abroad. Yin Sheng helped the two elders pack their belongings and unexpectedly saw the watch he had given Nan Yuan. He recounted that he and Nan Yuan grew up together, they studied together, loved swimming together, and trained and competed in city-level competitions together. But Nan Yuan suddenly suffered a thigh joint injury and had to give up his competition slot to someone else. Yin Sheng guessed that his friend was injured while teaching him butterfly stroke. He didn't want to compete anymore, wanting to train for rehabilitation with his friend. Nan Yuan made Yin Sheng keep his promise and definitely win the championship. Yin Sheng had indeed achieved it, raising the swimming trophy with Nan Yuan. He looked at the old photo, remembering sending cards to the Time post office with his friend. Nan Yuan's mother said that her son had received the card from the Time post office. Yin Sheng read Nan Yuan's last line and decided to participate in the underwater rescue volunteer exam to help his friend fulfill his dream. Since Ji Dan wanted to volunteer with her boyfriend, Yin Sheng taught her CPR. She was a little shy, making him the drowning victim. Yin Sheng taught that if the victim doesn't wake up after 30 chest compressions, artificial respiration should be performed. He reminded her to focus on lifting the chin with one hand and pinching the victim's nose with the other. He closed his eyes and urged her to blow forcefully into his mouth. His friends arrived at an inconvenient time and quickly retreated. Ji Dan blamed her boyfriend for not explaining, but he pulled her tightly into his arms. At the rescue volunteer assessment, Yin Sheng didn't dare to go into the water. Ji Dan used the excuse that Yin Sheng was unwell to take him out to rest. To improve Yin Sheng's mood, Yuan Shun grandly organized a celebration of his relationship with Mi Fun. The whole group raised their glasses to celebrate the couple's 199 days together. Mi Fun thanked everyone for attending with gifts hidden in the sand. Ji Sin excitedly found a heart-shaped stone. She felt a surge of courage and unexpectedly kissed Hu Ling on the cheek. She knew he wasn't prepared and pretended to be completely drunk. Meanwhile, Ji Dan dug and dug, but couldn't find her gift. She asked her boyfriend for help so she could go to the restroom. But when she returned, Ji Dan heard someone drowning. She saw Yin Sheng's hat floating and frantically rushed into the sea to find him. "Yin Sheng, where are you?" It turned out that Yin Sheng had gone elsewhere to answer a phone call. He saw Ji Dan in the sea and quickly called her to come ashore, but Ji Dan couldn't hear him, and he didn't dare to step into the sea. Yin Sheng heard Ji Dan's desperate cry and rushed into the water to save his beloved. Ji Dan saw Yin Sheng swimming hard towards him. She hugged him. Just then, Yuan Shun and Hu Ling arrived to help. Yin Sheng woke up and comforted his crying girlfriend. The next morning, at the hospital, Yin Sheng wanted to take a psychological evaluation. The doctor told him not to worry too much while waiting for the results. Just then, Ji Dan texted, missing her boyfriend and asking him to come to her psychology class. Coincidentally, the teacher was lecturing on post-traumatic stress disorder. He cited many cases that had completely recovered through a combination of medication and psychological counseling. But there was also a case of a boy who almost drowned and dared not go into the water ever since. During treatment, the boy couldn't overcome his psychological trauma, leading to severe secondary depression. Dan thought it was just an isolated case, but the fear in Yin Sheng's heart was like surging waves. Meanwhile, Ling chased San to the airport. He thought she was going abroad, so he hinted at asking her to stay. San refused, saying she had agreed to participate in an international artificial climbing competition. Ling breathed a sigh of relief, secretly blaming Yin Sheng for not explaining clearly. He had torn her card deck, so he had just taken a new set of photos. He gave them and himself to San to manage. She told him not to regret it, because she was very clingy. Meeting Dan, Tong apologized. She planned to resign as the manager of the swimming club to focus on her major. She knew she had blindly done many wrong things and didn't dare to hope for forgiveness. She only hoped Dan would help Yin Sheng overcome his psychological barrier. One evening, Dan brought breakfast for her boyfriend. Dan saw Yin Sheng busy enjoying Tong's piano music. It turned out that Tong knew a specialist who researched psychological treatment through music, so she tried to apply it to Yin Sheng. Back at the office, Yin Sheng heard Ling say that Dan had brought breakfast to the music room. Just as he met his girlfriend, Yin Sheng demanded a love breakfast. Dan thought he was full from listening to music, so he didn't need breakfast anymore. Yin Sheng praised Dan, saying that even her jealousy was cute. He said that Shizi called him this morning to listen to music therapy. Shizi was also in the room, so it wasn't a two-person world as Dan imagined. Yin Sheng gave his girlfriend a dress to wear to the concert tonight. Shizi was late due to work. Dan saw Tong's broken hair clip and gave her another one. At the concert, Yin Sheng put his coat on his girlfriend. Just then, Shizi arrived and sat next to Tong. The melodious music filled the air, captivating everyone. The next day at the follow-up appointment, the doctor assessed Yin Sheng's psychological condition as not optimistic. Tired, Yin Sheng returned to the office and saw a voice recorder in the drawer. Dan's voice said that Yin Sheng couldn't be cured. She wanted to let go and told him that she wanted to break up. At the climbing club, Yin Sheng saw Dan looking for the voice recorder. He wondered if these were her true feelings. He saw her nod and left disappointed. Dan quickly picked up the voice recorder and chased after Yin Sheng. She pretended to have a leg injury to make him turn back, but Yin Sheng told her not to meet for a while. Gathering everyone, Dan didn't understand why Yin Sheng got angry for no reason after listening to the recording. It was just a recording of her monitoring his condition. Shizi pressed play, but the device was broken since Yin Sheng dropped it. Dan guessed that Yin Sheng hadn't listened to the entire long recording and had misunderstood her. She wanted to explain, but he didn't give her a chance. Ling called Yin Sheng to the club to help Yuan Shun celebrate his 214th day with me fun. At the swimming pool, Yin Sheng remembered the doctor saying that to cure post-traumatic stress disorder, one needed a strong will. During treatment, he could experience anxiety and irritability, even depression, leading to self-harm. Just then, Dan came and asked him to listen to her, but Yin Sheng refused and coldly broke up with her. Yin Sheng, are you serious? Yin Sheng quickly turned away, not wanting Dan to see his red eyes. She burst into tears, still not understanding what was happening to him. Meeting a drunk Yin Sheng on the soccer field, Tong helped him back to the dorm. Meanwhile, Dan walked to the boys' dorm out of habit. She saw him hand in hand with Tong and quickly turned away. The next day, Yin Sheng packed his bags and went to Sichuan to participate in training for the math competition. He asked Ling to manage the club for him. Ling called Dan, but she wondered what right she had to meet Yin Sheng. Finally, Shizi finished preparing the voice recorder. Dan discovered that the recording had been edited. She remembered that she still had the original on her computer. Meanwhile, Yin Sheng was startled when he heard Dan's name. Just then, he received a message from her. He quickly opened it and listened to the recording like a diary, which recorded Dan's mood as she followed her boyfriend's illness. She was happy when he cooperated and heartbroken when he lost all confidence. She wanted to help him, but didn't know how. She had just watched a movie where the male lead also suffered from the same illness as Yin Sheng, but he was afraid of being abandoned by his girlfriend and wanted to break up with her. Finally, with the help of a professor, he overcame his psychological trauma. She thought she should abandon the current method and let him follow nature. Because she didn't need Yin Sheng to swim, she just wanted him to be happy forever. But Dan, your illness is more serious than you think. But since she couldn't call Yin Sheng, Dan was afraid he hadn't read her message. She asked Shizi to inquire, but unexpectedly, Yin Sheng had read it but still ignored her. She went back to the club and exhausted herself to temporarily forget the pain in her heart. She helplessly looked out at the vast sea and had to bury her first love. At the swimming club to get the stamp for Huling, Ji-san found Yin Sheng's psychological evaluation results. Ji-dan blamed herself for being careless and not realizing that Yin Sheng was very fragile. She frantically rushed to the sea to dig for the necklace. A little girl found it and returned it to Ji-dan. He sneaked into the training school. Ji-dan ran everywhere looking for Yin Sheng. She climbed onto a chair and finally saw him. She emotionally and silently sent her love through the glass door. Just then, she was discovered and ran away with the cake. Inside, Yin Sheng looked at the some symbol on the window. He had a premonition that it was Ji-dan and quickly wrote something down to run and meet her. Yin Sheng. He turned around and saw the smile that made him miss her endlessly. She said she had read his psychological evaluation results, but they still had many methods they hadn't tried. No matter what, she would protect him. Yin Sheng, don't hide anything from me anymore. Happy birthday. Yin Sheng approached, slowly bending down and placing a kiss on his girlfriend's lips. Ji-dan, I won't leave you again. The whole group raised their glasses to celebrate the couple's reunion. Ji-san wondered who had edited the recording. Yuan Shun had asked many people, but didn't know who put the voice recorder in the drawer. Ji-dan accidentally took the senior's phone and found it stained with paint. Meeting In Tong privately, Ji-dan asked her if she took her voice recorder. In Tong claimed that she had given up on Yin Sheng, so there was no need to do that. Ji-dan praised the senior for deceiving everyone. She remembered that when she put the voice recorder on the table, there was still a lot of paint to redecorate the club walls. But Ji-dan thought that no matter what In Tong did, she would not break up with Yin Sheng. In Tong admitted that it was because she was the one who had been by Yin Sheng's side since childhood. Yin Sheng affirmed that he wouldn't like In Tong even without Ji-dan, because he always only considered her a friend. Shi was disappointed, not expecting In Tong to take advantage of him. She pretended to approach him so that everyone would think she had given up on Yin Sheng. At the club, In Tong announced that she was preparing to go abroad. She hoped Yin Sheng would overcome his psychological barrier because Nin Yuan's death wasn't entirely his fault. That day, she rented oxygen tanks. Because the boss was busy, In Tong chose the equipment herself. She didn't expect to accidentally pick 2 faulty oxygen tanks. She kept the secret so that Yin Sheng would bear the responsibility with her. Yin Sheng, I'm sorry. Sometime later, Yin Sheng returned to the rescue volunteer assessment. But this time, he had realized Nan Yuan's dream. At the graduation ceremony, Yin Sheng had the honor of giving a speech. He saw his girlfriend running towards him and asked for permission to say a few more words. Ji-dan, mathematics was once the most beautiful thing in my eyes, but later I realized that I was only truly fulfilled when I met you. We've argued, we've been separated, we've watched fireworks together and volunteered together. You went through the darkest days with me. You're like a mirror, reflecting my arrogance back to me. You're also like a ray of sunshine, piercing through the clouds and shining directly into my heart. Your courage helped me become braver too. You helped my soul no longer be lonely, putting on the strongest armor. Ji-dan, I love you. Standing high above, looking down at the campus, Yin Sheng remembered the first time he met Ji-dan with her curly hair. She blamed him for pushing her down and not even apologizing. Yin Sheng thought that many beautiful love stories begin with difficult fates. Ji-dan sighed because Yin Sheng no longer had a summer vacation. Back home, Ji-dan counted each day away from Yin Sheng. She went to the river to catch fish, wishing she could see Yin Sheng. Ji-dan, a familiar, loving voice suddenly called out. Yin Sheng jumped onto the boat and swam towards the person he loved. And so, the train ride of youth reached its destination. May Ji-dan and Yin Sheng be happy together forever. This is where the story ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to not miss out on more amazing videos. For now, goodbye and until next time.